ನಗರಾಜ ಧರಣಿದು ಪರಿವಾರು ಲೆಲ್ಲ ನಗರಾಜ ಧರಣಿದು ಪರಿವಾರು ಲೆಲ್ಲ ఓగిబోధన చేసేవారల్లు గారే ఇతులుండుదురా నీ నగుమో ఓ మూగన్నలేని నా జాలి తెలిసే నగుమో.
What's your earliest memory of music?
My first musical memory, I'm not sure if I'm making this up, if it actually is. It's actually the song Nila Kaigiradu from the movie Indra. So we were living in Chennai. I think the movie came out in 92 or 93. I was born in 91 and we immediately moved to Chennai. And I think my dad is a singer himself, and I remember him learning the song to perform for a stage show. I think that should be one of my first memories of music as such, and that should be one of the first songs I should have ever hummed.
Who are some of the musicians that you're related to? Let's just run down that list.
Right. So my father's family is a musical family. His mother and her elder sisters are all Carnatic musicians. They've learned Carnatic music and they practiced Carnatic music and they also performed Carnatic music. And the eldest of them all, there are 7 of them, and the eldest are 2 sisters, Sharda Mani and Radha Mani. They were named, their stage name was the Parur sisters. They're from a place called Parur here in Kerala. They were known as the Parur sisters and they used to perform Carnatic music, as we call kacheris over here. Yeah. And then my Ammuma, or my grandmother, she was a musical professor here in the Women's College here in Trivandrum, which is like 5 kilometers away from where we are right now. She taught there for close to 30 years. I'm not sure, I'll have to check. But till she retired in the late 70s, she was working there. And my dad is a singer. He's a pretty popular playback singer here in Kerala. And he was the first one to branch out into film music and not Carnatic. So yeah, that's my immediate family. Those who are associated with my family, my aunt is a very popular singer. Her name is Sujata Mohan. Her daughter Shweta Chechi is my cousin. And we also have another singer in our family, Radhika Tilak. She passed away, unfortunately. She was also a singer. And these 3 are the known film singers in our family. And then there's me.
So was a career in music a no-brainer for you?
Quite the opposite. I never wanted to be a singer. So I never trained in classical music, vocal music. What I'm trained in is piano, Western piano. So I learned piano for almost close to 8 years. I wouldn't call them, though I sat for my 8th grade classes, I could not attend the exam because I got admission into Madras Christian College for my bachelor's, and that's when I left for Chennai. And I haven't touched the piano since. So I never actually wanted to be a singer, to be honest. My dad, in fact, forced me to learn music for a month, and then he noticed that I was not interested at all. That's when he realized that you shouldn't force someone into this art form if they're not interested. So he asked me, like, are you ever interested in music? And I said that I really like the piano. And then he found a tutor for me, and then I learned piano for close to 6 to 7 years.
Why did you resist singing?
I really can't pinpoint why. I don't think I've had anyone in my childhood who told me that I used to sing at all. So I just figured that I wasn't good at it. And everyone I knew around me were very good at what they did, especially related to music. So I just did not want to ruin the name. It was not until college that people started telling me that, hey, you can sing.
So do you have any memories surrounding music, like growing up?
No. Okay. Yeah, we've never, this is a question that I normally get to. We're not a family like that. I don't think musical families function that way. There's no monthly meeting where everyone comes together and we just sing. I've never seen that happen in my family ever. Right. I have heard it does happen in certain families, but definitely not in mine. So when all the singers catch up, we're just chatting, we're gossiping, we're chatting about family, friends, work. That's about it. There's rarely any music involved.
Is there a lot of pressure on you to, live up to the family legacy?
Again, what happened was my father used to be a well-known name here in Kerala. I never knew that because I grew up in Chennai and no one there knew him at all. I remember in my 3rd grade or 4th grade, one of the first initial classes, and the class teacher wanted us to introduce ourselves and what our parents did. And I said that my father is a singer. He was like, singer where? Like, he sings in Malayalam films. And the immediate question was like, oh, are they singers other than Yeshudas and Sujata? And I'm like, is my father lying to me? Is this the job that he actually does? So I never knew this was a viable option as a career. And I did not know that he was popular at all until I came back to Kerala, which was in my 7th, 8th grade. So there was no pressure on me at all. And I don't think in college I didn't do anything related to music at all. I did visual communication. I was very much into visual arts, advertising and films. So there was nothing related to music, so I didn't have the pressure of carrying my father's name or my family name at all.
Where does your passion for cinema stem from?
I think it comes from the conversations that I've had as a kid with my father and my family regarding just films, because he was so closely associated with every film that he used to sing in, at least the musical bit, and he knew the actors as well. He would always come back and talk to me and my mom about who he met. He went to this set and he saw this song being picturized, or he was at the studio and this person came in. So the conversation was very natural around films as such. So I had an inclination towards visual arts, and as every kid, I was glued to the TV all my life. So yeah, I think that's where it stemmed from.
Who are some of your favorite musicians growing up?
I grew up in the golden era of A.R. Rahman. So he came in the 90s, and I was born in 91. So I grew up listening to his music, and I was also in Chennai. So every new cassette that came out, that was always in my house. My dad had it. I used to listen to it. And yeah, so Rahman at the top of my head. He is my introduction into music. My favorite singers, yes, apart from my dad, of course. Everyone in Malayalam film music, old and new, starting from Yeshudas, who's a legend, he sort of broke barriers and made it easy for singers who came after him. There's Yeshudas, there was Jayachandran, there's M.G. Srikumar, there's my dad, there's Unnimenan, Srinivas, so many people. And then people who come from, across states and sing in Malayalam. Hridhayam, Shreya Ghoshal, Sonu Nigam has sung. So yeah, Udit Narayan, they're all favorites.
What are some of your favorite childhood memories, like surrounding music?
Would be, I told you, my dad practicing Nila Kaigirada, and that is the first tune that I ever remember, to be very honest. That I remember very consciously, that I remember humming as a child. Just humming that tune. It's just very close to me, that song. That song is what started my musical career, if I can be very honest. The first time that I ever sang a song in college was Nila Kaigiradu. So every competition that I used to go, I used to sing the song. So that was my opening song, Nila Kaigiradu.
So you graduate, and where does life take you after that?
Right after my bachelor's, I wanted a master's. I was never a studious person. I was never at the top of my class. I was never at the bottom either. I was somewhere in the middle. We were all safe. So my dad had a master's degree and my mom had a master's degree, and they used to say, you get a master's degree, you get a good job. So I just wanted to do a master's degree, and then I found a supplementary course in Christ College, Bangalore, which was sort of like a supplement to the course which I did in Chennai, MSc in Communication. So I went and did that course. And during that course is where we had a subject called Film Studies, and they teach us the history of films and how films started, where it's going, the things, how films have revolutionized, us as a species as well in many ways. So that was very important turning point for me. And right after my master's, I worked in the advertising industry for close to 2 years in Bangalore, in Trivandrum, and I also worked in Cochin as well for a bit.
As what?
As an AD.
Okay.
for production houses. I worked with Nirvana Films, I worked with Trends, I worked with Stark as a copywriter over here. I also worked as an AD for TVC Factory, which is a production company in...
On what, ad film?
On ads film, national and local ads, both. And that's when I took a decision that I had an inclination towards longer formats, not short formats. So I asked my dad if I can go abroad. I wrote my Pune Film Institute entrance exam for 2 years. I didn't get in. There's only 16 seats and it's a very competitive exam. I didn't get through. And I was looking at the course structure of the private institutions over here, film private institutions over here in India. And I found that the fee structure isn't all that different from when you go abroad. So it was like, when I go abroad, I get the exposure as well. So I decided that I'll go abroad, do a course. I wanted a very hands-on course. Most of the master's course in universities were 3 to 4 year courses. And I didn't want to spend that much time studying. So I found this hands-on course, which is a 1 year accelerated MA course in New York Film Academy, LA. Went there, got it done, came back and started working.
Was moving to America a culture shock?
So we're very exposed to the American lifestyle through films or series, and I used to watch a lot of them. What I wasn't expecting is the diversity that it came in LA, especially LA, because my class had, I think, close to 36 students, and out of them, only one was American. The rest, I think, apart from Australia, Oceania, and the Arctic, they were students from pretty much every continent. They were students from Mongolia, China, Japan, Brazil, Colombia, Nigeria. There were people from everywhere, and knowing more about them was great. And they were showing films from their country, and that was a new thing for me, because I get that people over here are very used to Korean film. We watch a lot of Korean film dramas, and then there's the Indian film industry, and there's also Hollywood. I don't think we much as film audience have seen films from other parts of the world, and I think that was a learning experience for me.
Is music composition something you're aspiring to do as well?
Not at the moment. I think that's a different ball game. So yeah, I have a lot of people coming up to me. It's like, you sing and you play, why don't you compose? It's like, no, that's very different. It's like, you're an actor, you can direct as well. That's completely different sets of skills that you need to have, and I don't think I have the skill to be a composer. I am very aware of the kind of music that I want. Like, I do cover songs, I do my EPs as well. So I work with my programmer, and he comes up with a tune, and I have a very clear idea of, this is the instrument that I need, and I need it in this certain way. I can give them directions, but I cannot come up with the original tune.
So, does music and film go hand in hand for you?
It does. Music and film sort of go hand in hand for me, because Indian films quintessentially is sort of like a marriage between the two. We've all grown up watching films with music, and so I think it just comes naturally to me. Music and films go hand in hand for me.
Do you ever have to disconnect from music as a filmmaker?
Oh no. No. In fact, one of the sets I worked on had music on set while shoot so much that all of us could not disassociate from music at all. It could be the music from the film or any other film. While shooting a scene, the director would play reference music. If it's a romantic scene, he would play Enavale. If it was an action scene, he would play Vati Coming, like stuff like that.
What film was this?
This was the second film that I AD'd on, called Hridhayam. Yeah, so every day while shooting a scene, the director himself was a singer as well. His name is Vinith Srinivasan. Yeah. So he's a singer as well. So for him, music and films go hand in hand.
Who are some of your favorite filmmakers?
So my favorite filmmaker, to be honest, is someone of recent times. His name is Edgar Wright. I love his films. I love how he does visual comedy. Doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to make films like that. I just love his style of filmmaking. I love Tarantino. We're all fans of Tarantino. And from India, there's Kashyap. And in Malayalam cinema, there's the old K.G. George, Padmarajan, and the classic Priyadarshan, Mohanlal combo. I love all that. And I love the new guys as well. There's Amal Neerad, there's Ashik Abu, and there's so many guys who are coming up. I don't think it's certain films, it's more like filmmakers and what they do with the content that inspires me more. It's you can see there are similar stories being said, but the way they are said are very different. So things like that really affect you as a creator yourself. It was like, oh, I did not imagine this to be shot this way. This is very interesting. Yeah.
Is there a certain type of films that you like?
I watch everything, but on a really bad day when I'm eating, what I want to watch is Jackie Chan films. I love Jackie Chan films. It's a comfort zone for me. Yeah. And I remember it also might stem from the fact that me and my dad used to go watch films a lot. When I was a kid, it was just me and him. He would take me to the theaters, and I remember watching Rush Hour 1 and 2 with him. So I remember going for those.
So was it ever a conscious decision to pursue music?
No, it was not planned at all. So I started singing in college because I was ragged into singing. So, it was like, oh, this singer's son is here. Let us make him sing a song. So that's how it started. And I sang and I was like, oh, this guy actually sings. So they forced me to go for the auditions. There's a freshers auditions over there. Then I won the freshers. And then there was the college auditions. I won that as well. So more and more people are coming and telling me, I was like, you can really sing. This is good. And that's when a large number of people are coming up to me and saying that, hey, you're good at this. That's when I'm realizing, oh, maybe I'm not bad at this as well, because I've never had anyone come up to me and say that before. Also because I've never sung publicly before that. So that's where it started. And then we had a band in college and we wanted demos. We wanted to record demos primarily because my keyboard player, he wanted to become a composer. He's a very popular composer in Chennai. His name is Mervyn. He works with the duo Vivek Mervyn. He used to be my senior in college and he was also my keyboard player in my band. So he wanted to make demos that he could send to directors that he wanted to make, and I was the singer for most of them. So we would go to his place, which was like a 2-hour journey from Tambaram, take the bus, go stay over at his house. He has a small home recording setup. We recorded songs there and I just randomly sent it to Dad because, this is something that I'm doing in my free time, stuff like that. He heard it and I was like, your recorded voice sounds really good. This is something that, that could work. And his closest friends and family one is Srinivas, who used to study with him in college. And then the other is my aunt, Sujata. So he sent those demos. It was a demo of O Minna Penne from Vinay Thandi Varivaya. And we had done a sort of a reggae version of it. We just done reggae version of it and I randomly sent it to him. And he sent it to Srinivas, and who coincidentally was composing for the film that I had a debut in. So that's how it happened. He heard it and he was looking for a new singer.
So this is your first, you could say, professional recording session, right? How does this go?
Quite simple as well because my father was in Chennai at that time. Mr. Srinivas called me and him over. And I did not know that I was going there to record a song. And I went in, we said our highs. I knew him from the time I remember because he's always been in our house. We used to go to his house. We both know each other's families very well. He's a very close family friend. So I thought this was a very friendly family visit. Dad's in town, so we're all just going to catch up. Went there, after 5 minutes, he was like, okay, let's test your voice. I'm like, okay, what's happening? I'm like, no, there's a song. I want to try your voice out. And I don't think I was as nervous as I should have been because everything was there was no pressure. As in, this is your first song. There was no pressure like that. For me, it was just, it was a Saturday afternoon. I don't have work.
Do you think they planned that?
I don't think so. I know that Srini uncle, Mr. Srinivas, had it in mind to test my voice. He really liked my voice texture that he told me. So that's how it happened. My dad was there and we went over the lines a couple of times and we recorded, that's it. And then he sent it to the director and he liked it. Then I was called the second time and there were a couple of changes in the tune and the lyrics, and that's when I recorded.
So what was the reception to the first song like?
Nothing happens at all. I don't think the movie did well. The song was not noticed either. So it was all the usual in college. That's about it.
Were you disappointed?
Not really, because I wasn't looking forward to this becoming a next big thing, or I was carrying on with my work in my education in college, and I was focused on that.
And how long after the first song was the second song?
First song came out in 2011. 2011, I graduated from Chennai. I joined Christ in 2012. End of 2012 was my second song, which was in a movie called Nattoli Urichare Meenalla. That was big. I had my hopes high on that because Fahad Fasil was the upcoming star, and that was his film. And it was directed by V.K. Prakash, who was a very known director in Malayalam. So I had my hopes on that. And it was a very interesting song. It's unlike, if you listen to my discography, it's unlike anything that I've sung. So that was an alternative rock song. It was kind of groovy one.
How was the second song received?
I don't think many people. In fact, I have people coming up to me and saying that I've heard this song. I didn't know it was you who sung it. So I have a lot of that happening. But again, I don't think the movie did well, neither did the song. But I was really happy to be a part of that project with so many known people associated with it. So yeah.
Are you ever starstruck, like meeting your favorite stars?
Yeah, I do have that. I do have moments of being starstruck. Yeah. People who you've grown up with, in the sense that there are Mr. Mohanlal and Mr. Mammootty and all the other actors. I probably would have seen their faces more than my father's when I was growing up, because he was always traveling for work and he had his tours and shows, so he's never at home. But these guys are always on TV every day at home. So people that you've grown up with, when you see them in real life, it's sort of a very different feeling.
Do you have a specific memory of you like being starstruck? Anything that you can share with us?
Oh, for me, this happened in a film that I acted in a cameo role. It was a movie called... No, I wasn't ADing on that. Yeah, and I didn't sing that song either. So I'd done a couple of cover songs which went viral on YouTube. And the director of that movie, the movie name is called Varane Avshamunda. And it had Dulquer, Salman, Suresh Gopi and Shobana in it. And Shobana was one of those actors that you've grown up watching on television every day. She was there. And I was not briefed that she would be sitting right next to me during that song. So it's a Carnatic composition, and it's sort of like a Navaratri scene where there's this guy, it's like a kacheri setup, and I'm just singing. I just have to lip sync to the lines, and it was sung by Karthik. So the director tells me on the day of shoot, I was like, towards the end of the song, like, Shobana's going to come and sit next to you. I was like, okay, really? And she came and sat next to me. She was a wonderful person, and I just could not get Yamuna Yatrile out of my head. It just kept on playing on loop. And I was starting to tense up. I think she noticed it. She spoke to me. We had 2 days of shoot. She was a wonderful person.
So where does your career go after that?
Moving on from there, so when Hridhayam came out, I sang Tyagaraja Kirtanam called Nagumo in it. And it was a light music version of the Kirtanam. It was in a Carnatic version of it. And that sort of picked up. And so when you have a very popular song in a film, what usually naturally follows is the shows. And so over the last year, I've just been busy traveling in and out of the country. I've been in and out of GCC at least 6 or 7 times in the last 1 year. So it's been quite hectic and I'm enjoying it. In the meantime, I've almost finished writing the screenplay that I want to direct. I have to go start meeting producers and actors and get the project rolling. So,
are you a first take singer?
no, I take my time. So when you're working with a well-known music director, he's there. He would obviously want you to go for as many takes as possible until he's happy. But there are also I've also worked with composers who just send you the song, and it was like, just make sure you sing your best and send it back. I have realized that I take more time with that. I am never happy with myself, so I keep going on and on and on and on till I'm happy. So yeah, I'm not the first take singer at all.
Do you ever had like a bad studio session?
Luckily, no. I've heard terrible stories about things like that happened to my father. But yeah, luckily, no. I've never been in a situation where it was very tough. There have been, take Nagumo for example, that was a very difficult song for me to sing because I'm not Carnatically trained. And it's a proper Carnatic song as well. So I did struggle for the first half an hour to 45 minutes, but once I got the rhythm of it, it was very smooth. And Hisham, the music composer, is one of the sweetest person you can ever meet.
Do you ever get like frustrated when things don't go well in the studio?
Yeah, it is a little frustrating when you don't get a hang of it. Yeah, I usually take some time. It's usually 15 to 20 minutes. Just get used to the song, get used to singing the song, and getting used to hearing yourself in the on the headphones, because that's very different from just talking, just speaking or singing in the room. It's very different. So getting used to that takes some time.
Do you have a bucket list of musicians that you'd like to work with?
So also that has changed over time. I remember I wanted to work with A. Rahman, I wanted to sing for these big names. But now every other new upcoming artist is making incredible music. So it's less about the name and more about the song. If it's a really great song, and once you've been singing for a while, you're able to pick up, oh, like, this is a very interesting song, you know, I want to be a part of it. It's things like that come up. Obviously, the names are always there. You have to work with the best of the best. That's always on the list. But I think the priorities have slowly changed for pretty much everyone, because the chartbusters are hardly by the big guys. The new guys are hitting it out of the park as well. So yeah, at the moment, I don't have any names that I want to specifically work with. It's just I want to work with as many people as possible. New, old, it doesn't matter.
So tell us about your upcoming directorial debut.
I'm very particular that my first film has to be in Malayalam, because Malayalam cinema is what made me fall in love with cinema in itself as an art form. So I think I owe it to myself to just do the first film in Malayalam. I'm very well versed in Tamil. I speak fluent Tamil, so I'm totally open to making a Tamil film as well, because I'm very comfortable with the language. But yeah, Malayalam is where I want to start.
What makes Malayalam cinema stand out from the other industries?
No, I think our film history in itself is very grounded. Our stories are very grounded. Very rarely, I think, of late is when a large movie mounted on a large scale, with over-the-top action has picked up pace. If you look at our film history in itself, our films themselves have been very grounded in reality. So maybe, and I wouldn't say, I think you said yourself that you watched only a very few movies and they were really good. We have a huge bunch of movies that don't do well and are not really good either. So I think every industry has that. Yeah. I think we have not lost touch with where we come from, which is very grounded stories that talk about very local problems, very personal problems, which affects every audience on a very personal level. I think that's where our success comes from. But at the same time, for the industry to thrive, you also need these large-scale mounted, huge hero-oriented or actress-oriented films which pushes the barrier business-wise. So Lucifer, I remember, was one of those huge films, mounted the director was a superstar, the actor was a superstar, everyone associated was so huge that it really pushed barriers. As in, we had openings in countries where Malayalam film never used to run, and they were Malayalis. Might have run for like 1 or 2 days, but that's a market in itself. So the next big film is going to increase that market. So at the end of the day, you want your art form to be viewed and appreciated by as many people as possible. So I think you need to strike a balance with realistic, grounded films. At the same time, you need the others as well. I think the audience everywhere are smart enough to know what they want. They go into a movie knowing that this is such a kind of film, and yeah, as long as they're happy with the content and the way it's presented, it's good.
What are some of your favorite films from the recent past?
Really struck me. Obviously, Joji stuff. Iratta, that came out very recently with Joju. That was a great piece of film. Jai Jai Hey was great. Great Indian Kitchen was great. I loved Lucifer. It was a very well-made commercial film. I watch all genres of film. I love that.
Who makes your bucket list in terms of filmmakers you'd like to work with?
Mohanlal, Mammootty are there in every checklist, because so much years of experience, you have more to learn from them than they have from what you're offering. So it's like an education when you work on a film with them. Everyone, the new guys, Dulquer, Tovino, and everyone who's coming up, there are guys coming up every day. There's no dearth of talent at all. Everyone wants it, everyone is passionate, and you work with as many people as possible.
What does the future hold for you?
5-10 years from now, I want to be exactly where I am in terms of my passion, in terms of how much I want it, in terms of how much I love these art forms, music and films. That's where I want to be, inside. I cannot say where I would be in terms of my career. Ideally, I would be reasonably successful as a musician and would have made one or two films that have struck a chord with people and with myself as well.
Do you have any regrets, like since you debuted as a professional singer?
Every song that I listen to of myself, I could have done better. I always think that I could have done better. But I don't regret anything. And my father always says, no education and no labor is ever lost. So whatever I have done and have not gotten immediate, what do I say, immediate returns for, that would cash in somewhere else in life, whether in terms of education or if it's any of the labor that I've done in terms of music or working as an AD or working in advertising. I think that I'm going to benefit from all those experiences at some time. So I don't have any regrets.
What is the most important lesson you'd say you've learned since your debut?
The major lesson that I've learned is you have to be honest with the art form. I was not honest with music at all when I started off. My first few songs, I was not honest at all. It was like it was an experience. That's about it.
What do you
In the sense that I wasn't honest when I was recording. I wasn't 100% involved in the song. There were so many other things running as one would have in a young adulthood. But it is when you're pointed out that this particular art form, whether it's music or films, has the capability to change lives, to affect lives. I briefly remember this moment, specifically the cover version of Yennavalai that came out that I did for this YouTube channel called Kappa TV. That was one of the first songs of mine to go viral. And I remember this lady from Bangalore, and she texted me on Instagram. And I was studying in America at that point of time. I was in LA. And she texted me on Instagram saying that she was clinically diagnosed with depression. And she was going through something called music therapy, which means that she can select songs which makes her, be at peace. It helps with her anxiety and everything. And she had this particular song on every day. And she sent me that. And I was thinking, see, the reason for me singing the song was like, oh, if I sing this song, music directors would listen to it and they would call me for film works. That was my only goal. I did not think beyond that. It is much more than that. That one song that I sang is making life better for someone else. That was a realization that I had, and from then I was 100% involved in every song that I sang. I was completely honest to what I was doing. When I'm in the studio singing, I don't think about anything else. For those 2 to 3 hours, I'm just there. And I'm present only there. That is the main takeaway that I've had in my journey.
How do you deal with the highs and lows in your career?
Obviously, the successes further your career. The big ones like Nagumo, Maripadum, they sort of established me as a singer that everyone looks up to or expects another big one from. But it's not about the song. It's not about just the hits. There are countless number of songs that I've sung and no one else has listened to. Only a few people would have listened to. It's more about, it's a holistic process. Singing a song, learning an original composition, imbibing with the essence of the song, and putting a part of yourself in the creation. That is the main goal. The success and failures does not matter at all. Obviously, you're happy with the successes because I've put in as much effort into a Nagumo, which should be the most popular song that I've sung, as the least heard song. So it doesn't matter.
Is there pressure on you now that you've seen a lot of success to come up with like another hit?
I would be lying if I said that I am not bothered at all. Obviously, you want to follow one with the other. That would be great. The streak would be great. But I've realized that not everyone has that. You work with the best of the talents, even then the song fails to, work. So I think you sort of detach yourself a bit from the success or failure and attach yourself to just the process. I think you'll be just more happy.
You shared the stage with your dad. What's that feeling like?
It's the most comfortable feeling ever. I'm extremely secure. I don't think I don't break a sweat when I'm with him at all. That he is someone that I've listened to, have seen, have heard. His and my style of singing are very, because I think I unintentionally imitate that kind of singing, because from the time I was born, that is the style of singing that I'm used to listening on a very regular and personal basis. So when I'm singing with him, it's the most comfortable feeling ever. I feel very secure.
So, what is your message to your audience? What is the message to your fans?
Go. My general motto in life is just go with the flow. So yeah, just go with the flow. Enjoy music. Enjoy whatever you're doing in life. People come to watch a movie or come to a show for different reasons. They want to escape from their daily affairs, or they really are into the songs that you sing. Like a whole lot of the people who show up for my concerts don't even know me. It might be the first time that they're listening to me sing. So just enjoy, just go with the flow and just enjoy the process of listening to someone new and then giving him a chance. That's it.